In praise of impermanence, I tell you all who are wise persons, each listen to the life-giving, true words. The all-wise King of law, Mani the Buddha, is revealed to you all as before your eyes. We who are enlightened by the great saint must give up all favours and passions, decide to be content in the gate of the right law, and industry seek for nirvana, leaping over the great sea. I also tell you, men of superior form, blessed and virtuous, devote your thoughts, seek industriously for initiation, endeavour, seriously cultivate yourselves, and slack not, and quickly forgo all the horrors of birth and death. All the worlds are not eternally abiding, nor is all that on which one can rely real, like a city or a tower of a mirage in the desert, after which the fool chases and loses his life. Honour and prosperity, veneration and ranks of the world, in those who have little blessing, virtue or freedom, are like the vapour arising from mountain peaks in 4 directions, which are amassed by the blowing winds and will vanish soon. The putrid, foul body of flesh does not permanently abide. It will be all destroyed when the time of impermanence comes, like flowers and leaves of spring, which glorify the stem for a time. How can it be solid and firm, and always green and verdant, when the body of flesh was created by the cunning craftsman? It was he, the vain, malicious, and evil king of the devils, who, having completed the den and dwelling such as this, ensnared and arrested the natures of light, and hid himself behind. The merciless fires of hunger became chains and fetters, and man slaughters and hurts all living beings without an end, eating and swallowing all day long many bodies, but it still not spared from the tortures of birth and death. All the money and treasures amassed and accumulated through evil doings and through false utterances will altogether stay behind on the day of impermanence, but they are still the fetters of our nature of light. First, expel your lightless desire of favour and passion. It is the seat of all kinds of afflictions, for which we shall undergo much pain in the future, and in the present world it is the fetters of our Buddha nature. How sad are the masses of living beings in the world, being unable to believe devoutly and discover the right road. They seek for wealth day and night without a moment's pause, all for the sake of the flesh body, the greedy, devilish lord. When the flesh body is destroyed, the devil will then come out. But sinful doings have already pained the clean and pure nature. It will suffer every pain wherever it transmigrates, for man's doings in the previous life were unrighteous. In spite of his love of the flesh body, he must give it up ultimately, and what had life all returned to destruction. All riches and treasures, lands and houses, that we wish not to part with, will be separated at last. Although honour and prosperity can be obtained from this world, with a broken heart one will loathe the tortures of birth and death. Give up haughtiness, arrogance, and evil doings. Devote your attention and industriously cultivate the way of nirvana. Man is born a naked form, and he will die like that. However one can accumulate, wealth does not last. Sons and daughters, wife and concubine, were closely his own. They are left to attend other masters after his death. Only the shameful deeds and the evil doings will become burdens on his back after that day of impermanence. Before the king of the balance, justice, all his reasons are unjustifiable, and he goes to transmigration from birth and death tortures, once again to be bound and controlled by the king of devils, and go gradually in impurity if no good chance is met. He will enter the earth dungeon, or will be burnt out, or will be imprisoned with the devils, in eternal prison. Songs and pleasure, dancing and laughter, and all music, eating and gorging 100 delicacies, and management of lands and houses are like visions in a dream, which disappear when he wakes. Think carefully, and nothing seems reliable. The temporal relations of a family, which are a mundane truth, how far do they differ from that of staying at a traveller's inn? Masses of persons stop and rest together for a night. In the morning they separate and return to their own lands. Wife and concubine, sons and daughters, are like creditors, all existing because of mutual injuries in the past. They are all enemies and robbers with affection, and one is therefore bound to repay them their strength. The living masses, who devour flesh, have bodies like graves, and they are not unlike bottomless pits. Numerous kinds of animals are unjustly slaughtered, in order to supply the arms of 3 venoms and 6 robbers. Deeply and clearly shut within are the Buddha natures, oppressed by afflictions and always made to suffer. Greed, lust, the fire of hunger and calamity, seethe them without a moment's pause. The world grows worse gradually, always hurries and scurries. The high and the low control each other, and happiness does not exist. The living masses only increase their poverty and hardship, and the rich people are driven by devils without rest. Those who cultivate good deeds become extremely rare, but those who perform evil doings are numberless. Greed, lust, the gluttonous devil, and king of burning flames, withdraw and scatter even when they meet a good chance. Facing each other, people always compete in beautiful words, naturally without feeling shame, bashfulness, or fear. At the holy, the light, the great power, and who, wisdom, they unjustly cast fallacious and false words. The living masses are frequently overshadowed by ignorance, and refuse to cultivate the true and right way industriously, accusing Buddhas, damaging the law, neglecting the real priests, on whom and on which they only inflict damage, but give them no protection. You, the wise people, will see and observe clearly who has been the maker of the greater and the smaller worlds. For what reasons were these created in the time of creation? You must know clearly the true principles of diminution and increase. All the shapes and races which are feeling have life, successes and failures, and the final settlement of the world. All things such as these are things of mystery, and whither will the myriad of creatures ultimately return. All these the beneficent Mani has revealed and expounded, telling manifestly all about natures and forms. And you, men who seek after enunciation, must understand and reflect truly. Give alms, practice fasting, read and study industriously, discriminate with your wisdom, accept the pure commandments, be merciful, fear, and follow good rules and manners. Thus relying on these forces, you are spared calamity. Leap with joy, stand firm by the right law. Cultivate industriously your wisdom and kindness, and abide by the law. Give up altogether all bad rules and manners, and desire to rest your minds in the place of enunciation. Better now freely, for the sake of nature, be able to part with all the habits of passion and desire. Otherwise, when the day of impermanence will suddenly come to oppress you, what can help you if you regret and repent at the last moment? Think carefully of all things which happen in the world. None of them is reliable and trustworthy. Relatives, sons and daughters, wife and concubine, do not take your place on the day of impermanence. They are only two things, good and evil deeds, which follow your Buddha nature wherever you go or sit. But all honour and prosperity, treasures and curiosities must be given up altogether on the day of impermanence. The wise men will wake and know, and improve themselves beforehand, without being affected by the birth and death created by the devil's king. Whoever can part with favour and passion, or prosperity and pleasures, will be spared from sinking into the three venoms and five desires. May all of you who with unanimous mind go on to the right road, and quickly gain Nirvana, the land of the pure kingdom. There the seven distresses and four hardships are naturally absent, and it is therefore called the ever happy. Amen.